Welcome to the deep dive. You asked us to look into Krav Maga, the self-defense system that came out of Israel, known for its effectiveness and, well, efficiency.
That's right.
We've got Krav Maga, the best guide to over 50 self-defense moves, as our source material today.
A pretty comprehensive guide.
Yeah, it seems like it. Our goal isn't, to make anyone an expert overnight, but to pull out the core ideas and maybe some useful techniques that you can quickly understand and hopefully remember without getting sort of bogged down.
Exactly. You're looking for knowledge that you can grasp and potentially apply, right? And that's what's so compelling about Krav Maga, its practicality.
Right.
We're going to focus on the essential principles, the stuff that makes this system work in, real-world situations, and highlight some key techniques that bring those principles to life.
Okay.
Hopefully, you'll walk away with a much clearer understanding of how to approach self-defense, or at least the Krav Maga perspective on it.
Sounds good. Let's jump right into the foundational concepts then. The book starts with a really interesting one. Weapons are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's the idea that you don't need like a dedicated weapon for self-defense. Everyday things, your keys, a pen, your belt, even a credit card, it says.
Yeah, it's surprising what they list.
What's the core shift in thinking that this idea promotes?
Well, what's key here is the change in perspective. It's about moving from feeling potentially vulnerable to recognizing the potential around you.
Right, seeing things differently.
Exactly. The book gives examples, like you said, using keys or pens for focused strikes, a belt for creating distance, or as a makeshift whip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or even a credit card for quick slashes against soft targets.
Yeah.
It really encourages you, right now, maybe look around and consider, what could I use in a pinch? How would I hold it? What kind of motion?
Mm-hmm.
This simple mental exercise, it's kind of the first step towards a more resourceful mindset.
It's definitely more than just a list of items. It's about training your brain to see possibilities. Okay, the next fundamental, never stop moving, or retzev.
Retzev, yeah. Continuous motion.
Right, continuous motion during a confrontation. But this isn't just like flailing around, is it? It's movement with a specific goal.
Precisely. This principle emphasizes purposeful movement as a means of neutralizing a threat.
Neutralizing, okay.
And as the book explains, neutralizing can range from simply getting away, safely escaping, to more direct actions like disarming or immobilizing an attacker.
Right.
And, in the most extreme cases, it acknowledges even fatality if your life is genuinely in danger. The constant motion makes you a much harder target to hit, and it lets you position yourself better to take effective action.
That makes sense. A moving target is harder to pin down. Now, the next principle, simplicity is everything, also known as the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, classic.
That really resonates. It's about focusing on the most direct and effective techniques, avoiding anything overly complicated. Why is simplicity so crucial here?
Well, think about it. In a high-stress, life-threatening situation, your cognitive function can be significantly impaired. Adrenaline does weird things.
Yeah, tunnel vision and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Complex techniques you might nail in the gym, much more likely to fail under real pressure. What's vital is to identify the most efficient way to exploit an attacker's vulnerabilities.
Like what?
Like, if someone's off balance, maybe a simple push is enough. If they're not expecting it, a direct strike to a vulnerable area is going to be far more effective than trying some fancy multi-step martial arts move. It's about doing the simplest, most direct thing to stop the threat.
Right. No need for flashy movie moves. Okay, then we get to pressure points and soft tissue make good targets. This is pretty straightforward, highlighting vulnerable areas like the eyes, throat, groin, shins, prime targets.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is to inflict maximum damage quickly in a critical situation.
Exactly. Krav Maga is, at its core, about surviving a dangerous encounter. The book is very clear. In self-defense, there are no rules. Your priority is to neutralize the threat as rapidly as possible.
Makes sense.
And that means targeting the areas where you can inflict the most damage with the least effort. It's also important to understand, as the book points out, that once the attacker is no longer a threat, your responsibility for their safety kind of ends. You neutralize, then you get out.
It's about effectiveness in a worst-case scenario. Moving on, physical balance is essential. This seems obvious. You need to be steady on your feet. But the book breaks this down into both maintaining your own balance and disrupting your attackers.
Correct. Maintaining your own physical balance is fundamental. You need it for executing techniques effectively and avoiding being easily taken down.
Right.
The book recommends a stable stance, feet shoulder width apart, slightly bent knees, lower center of gravity. Gives you a solid base for movement, absorbing impact. And just as important is learning to recognize and exploit when your opponent is off balance. Even a slight disruption to their equilibrium can create that opening you need to act decisively.
And it's not just about being physically stable, is it? The next principle is mental balance is just as important. This talks about staying calm, focused under extreme pressure.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Fear, anger, they can be incredibly detrimental in a dangerous situation.
How so?
They can cloud your judgment, make you hesitate, freeze up, prevent you from accessing any training you might have. Maintaining a degree of mental composure, even a little bit, lets you stay aware, think more clearly, and react effectively, remembering and applying techniques.
Following that, we have positioning. This is about placing yourself strategically in relation to your attacker. Maximize safety, prepare for your next move. What are some key concepts here?
A primary concept is trying to stay outside the direct line of attack. Often moving to like a 45-degree angle relative to your opponent is recommended.
Why 45 degrees?
It makes it harder for them to hit you cleanly, but also can put them in a less advantageous position to counter whatever you do. The book emphasizes that good positioning comes from understanding timing and distance, which really gets refined through training and practice.
It leads us naturally to the last fundamental we'll discuss, timing.
Yeah.
Knowing when to move, attack, or counterstrike to exploit vulnerabilities.
Wow.
Why is precise timing so critical?
Timing can mean the difference between a successful defense and, well, becoming more vulnerable. Act too early, your opponent might see it coming, anticipate, adjust.
Right.
Act too late, and you could miss the opening or get caught off guard yourself. Recognizing that precise moment when your opponent is off balance, distracted, maybe mid-motion exposed, that's key to maximizing the effectiveness of your actions. It's a skill really developed through practice, sparring, understanding the dynamics.
Okay, we've got a solid foundation with those principles. Now let's look at some basic techniques, starting with the fighting stance. The book describes a specific stance. Side on, stronger side rear, hands up near head height, relaxed fists, elbows tucked, weight balanced, knees slightly bent.
Yep, that's the basic setup.
What are the advantages of adopting this stance?
It offers a few key benefits. Physically, it presents a smaller target to your opponent. Side on is narrower than front on.
Makes sense.
Having your hands up in that relaxed guard position allows for quick defensive or offensive movements. The balanced weight, the flexed knees, they provide agility for moving in any direction, forward, back, sideways.
Yeah.
And interestingly, there's also a psychological aspect. Just appearing ready, aware, maybe a bit formidable, can sometimes deter an attacker before anything even starts.
Interesting. From that stance, we can look at striking principles. The book highlights 3 important elements: attitude, fluent shockwave, and target selection. Let's break those down.
Okay. Attitude. In this context, it refers to a decisive, unwavering belief in your ability to survive and prevail. You have to commit.
All right.
The book uses a very direct phrase, kind of sums it up. Thump him and dump him.
Okay, direct.
It's about committing fully to your actions. Then, fluent shockwave, often described as hit and stick, it emphasizes maintaining brief contact with your target upon impact, maybe like a tenth of a second.
Why?
It ensures a more complete transfer of energy, maximizing the effect, the shock of your strike.
Got it. Hit and stick.
And finally, target selection reinforces that earlier principle. Aim for the most vulnerable areas to quickly neutralize the threat. Eyes, throat, groin, knees.
Okay. Now, before you can effectively strike, you need to form a proper fist. The book outlines how to make a fist correctly to avoid injury. Why is this seemingly simple step so important?
Oh, it's crucial for protecting the delicate bones in your hand and for ensuring your strikes are as powerful and effective as possible. You don't want to break your hand on the first punch.
Right. How do you do it properly?
The book details how to bend your fingers at the middle and base knuckles, tuck your fingertips into your palm, and then wrap your thumb securely across your index and middle fingers. Not inside, not sticking out.
Okay.
It also emphasizes making contact with the 2 largest knuckles, index and middle finger knuckles, for maximum impact, and using your whole body, rotating hips, pushing off your feet to generate power. It's not just an arm movement.
Got it. Use the whole body. With a solid fist, we can move on to specific strikes, starting with the hammer fist. The book describes this as a short-range downward strike using the fleshy outer part of your fist, the heel of the hand almost.
Mm.
What makes this a useful technique in close quarters?
The hammer fist is very intuitive. It's a natural motion, doesn't require a lot of fine motor control, which is great in a chaotic situation.
Huh.
As the book explains, it's that natural downward or sideways motion that utilizes the power of your hips, core, shoulders. It can be delivered vertically, like chopping down, or horizontally swinging across. Makes it versatile in close range for striking vulnerable spots like the top or back of the head, the collarbone, temple, even the groin.
Now, next is the palm strike.
Hmm.
Open hand strike, base of the palm, similar motion to a punch. The book points out its effectiveness as an upward thrust to the chin or nose.
Mm-hmm.
What are the advantages of using an open palm versus a closed fist sometimes?
While the palm strike, especially upwards to the chin or nose, can deliver significant concussive force, potential knockout power.
Right.
A key advantage is it reduces the risk of injuring your hand compared to punching with a closed fist, especially if you hit something hard like the skull or forehead accidentally.
Good point.
While the book notes it might be less effective, maybe against the body, that upward thrust to the head can be a very powerful and safer option for your own hand.
We then have the knife hand strike, which, like the name suggests, uses the side of your hand like a chopping motion.
Oh.
The book describes extending fingers, pressing thumb against index finger, keeping it tight, and striking with the meaty part of your hand between the little finger and wrist.
Yep, the edge of the hand.
What are the primary targets for this type of strike?
The knife hand strike can be very effective against vulnerable areas of the neck, the sides, the carotid artery area, or the base of the skull.
Ouch.
Yeah, the focused impact of that edge can cause significant pain, disruption, maybe even a stun. The book emphasizes keeping the hand tight to maximize power and avoid hurting your own fingers.
Moving on to the elbow strike, which the book considers one of the body's sharpest and hardest natural weapons.
Definitely.
It mentions vertical, horizontal, and diagonal variations. Why are elbow strikes so potent in close combat?
Elbows are naturally bony, very strong. Elbow strikes deliver concentrated force over a tiny area, making them incredibly effective at close range when someone's right on top of you. As the book details, vertical strikes often aim for the chin, uppercut motion, horizontal strikes for the temple or jaw. Diagonal strikes can hit various parts of the head and neck.
Right.
The book also correctly points out, because they're so close range, elbow strikes often need to be followed up immediately with other techniques to ensure the threat is fully neutralized. They create an opening.
Then we have the knee strike, which the book highlights as being particularly powerful when combined with the Thai clinch.
Ah, yes, the clinch.
Grabbing the opponent's neck to pull them into the strike, ideally targeting the solar plexus, abdomen, or face. How does the clinch enhance the knee strike?
The Thai clinch provides a crucial element of control. By grabbing and pulling your opponent's head and neck down, you disrupt their balance and you can precisely control their position, pulling them directly into the path of your rising knee.
Creates a collision.
Exactly. Allows you to deliver a focused, powerful strike to vital areas, potentially causing immediate incapacitation. The book correctly notes you can often deliver successive knee strikes, boom, 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 until the opponent is no longer a threat.
We also have the headbutt, described as risky, used when hands and feet are restricted. Covers both forward and backward headbutts, typically aimed at the nose or cheekbones. Given the risk, when might this be a necessary option?
Yeah, the headbutt is definitely a last resort due to the risk of injuring yourself. Knocking yourself out is not a good defensive strategy.
No.
But in situations where your limbs are tied up, like in a really tight bear hug or grapple, it can be a powerful way to create space or inflict sudden pain and disorientation. Might open them up for other, less risky techniques. As the book points out, follow-up strikes are essential after a headbutt. Don't just headbutt and admire your work.
Right. Next is the thumb strike. A quick jab using an extended thumb like a thumbs up, but weaponized, aimed at soft areas, eyes, temple, throat. Book mentions effectiveness, but also risk of injuring your thumb. How does that risk-reward balance play out?
The thumb strike can be surprisingly effective against very specific, sensitive targets. That small, focused pressure can cause intense pain, make someone flinch, maybe temporarily blind them if you hit the eye.
Yikes.
But the book is right, there's a definite risk of jamming or breaking your thumb. So it requires precision and should ideally be aimed at the softest, most accessible target's eyes, throat hollow, to maximize effectiveness while minimizing risk to yourself.
Okay. For kicking, the book primarily recommends low kicks, shin, knee, outer thigh, hip, groin. It deems high kicks too complicated and risky for self-defense for most people without extensive training.
Yeah, definitely.
What are the advantages of focusing low?
Low kicks are powerful. They're relatively easy to execute effectively without, years of taekwondo practice. And they carry a much lower risk of you losing your balance compared to high kicks.
True, less chance of falling over.
Exactly. They're also less telegraphed, harder for the opponent to see coming, easier to mask. And as the book notes, they can be very effective at disrupting mobility, causing pain, breaking structure, creating openings for other techniques, or just to escape.
We then move to grappling and wrestling. Close range physical engagement. The key principle here, the book says, is using body movement, positioning, skill, leverage, rather than just brute strength.
Yes, very important distinction.
How can understanding leverage and body mechanics be advantageous in grappling?
Well, in grappling, understanding how to manipulate someone's balance and use leverage can allow a smaller or weaker person to control and even overcome a larger, stronger opponent. It's not about muscle on muscle necessarily.
Okay.
It's about knowing how to shift your weight, your body position, create angles and forces that put your opponent at a disadvantage. Exploiting the way the body is built to move, or not move, emphasizes technique over raw power.
That leads us to throws takedowns. Techniques for getting an opponent to the ground by manipulating balance, using momentum, applying leverage. The book stresses maintaining control during the throw and having follow-up actions planned.
Crucial follow-up.
Why is ground control and follow-up so important after a takedown?
Taking someone down can be a significant advantage, sure, but it's only effective if you can maintain control and prevent them from getting back up. Or worse, reversing the situation on the ground.
Right.
As the book mentions, having follow-up techniques, ready strikes to vulnerable areas while they're down, joint locks, chokes, is crucial for ensuring the opponent is neutralized and you can safely disengage and get away. The fight isn't necessarily over just because they hit the floor.
Finally, in the basic technique section, we have break falls.
Okay.
This is about learning to fall safely to minimize injury. Covers backward rolls, forward rolls, side break falls, back break falls, all emphasizing rolling to dissipate impact and landing on fleshy parts, like the shoulder area, spreading the impact. Why is learning to fall correctly such a vital, though maybe often overlooked, aspect of self-defense?
Learning to fall correctly can be the difference between walking away from a slip, trip, or throw and sustaining a serious injury. Broken wrist, collarbone, concussion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you are thrown or tripped or just lose your balance in a confrontation, knowing how to break your fall by rolling, slapping the ground, distributing the impact, it can significantly reduce the risk of serious injury. As the book points out, practicing these until they become instinctive is key. You don't want to be thinking about how to fall while you're falling.
Okay, now we're moving into block and counter techniques, where defense immediately transitions into offense. Let's start with kick the groin. The book emphasizes its effectiveness and legality in self-defense situations.
Yep, it's a primary target.
What are the key elements of a successful groin kick?
Well, the groin is highly vulnerable, obviously. A well-executed kick can be immediately incapacitating. The book correctly describes a thrusting motion using the lower shin or instep, emphasizing kicking through the target, aiming sort of towards their chin line for maximum upward impact.
Right.
It also advises leaning back slightly for balance and avoiding making contact with just your foot or knee less surface area, more risk of injury to you or being grabbed. Shin is better.
Following that is the prevention kick. This is used when you can't avoid an encounter and need to keep an attacker at bay. Requires quickly assessing the situation and aiming for vulnerable areas like the knee, groin, solar plexus, or hips. What's the key here?
The prevention kick, sometimes called a stop kick or push kick, is about creating distance and disrupting an imminent attack before it fully materializes.
Sure.
As the book notes, it requires quick judgment and a decisive action, using the heel or ball of your foot for impact. Keeping your hands up to protect your head is crucial, and the kick should be followed up immediately, either more defense, offense, or preferably escape.
We then have defend against an outside strike, like a big looping slap or punch. The defense involves raising your forearm to intercept, while simultaneously making a fist with the other hand and punching a weak point jaw, nose, throat.
Simultaneous block and strike.
Why is this simultaneous action so important?
This technique embodies that principle of immediately turning defense into offense. By intercepting the incoming strike, you protect yourself. By simultaneously launching a counterattack at a vulnerable area, you can quickly gain the upper hand, disrupt their rhythm, maybe end the encounter right there. It's not just blocking passively, it's attacking through the block.
Next is overhand one-handed strike defense.
Yeah.
This involves leaning forward slightly to intercept, using the arm on the same side as the attack to deflect it over your head, and stepping forward with your lead leg to deliver a counterpunch. Leaning into the attack seems a bit counterintuitive.
It does, but leaning forward actually allows you to close the distance quickly, which reduces the power of that big, looping overhand strike. You're meeting it before it gathers full steam. And it makes it easier to guide it past your head. As the book describes, maintaining contact with your blocking arm helps guide the strike, and that simultaneous forward step lets you generate power for your counterpunch, using their momentum against them. The book also mentions maybe snaking your blocking arm around their attacking arm afterwards for more control.
We also have punch defense into hip throw. This is more involved. Parry a straight punch, deliver a counter strike, like a reverse punch or knife hand, grip their elbow and waist, pivot 180 degrees, thrust your hip, pull them over, slam them down, follow up.
Whew, yeah, that's a sequence.
How does this illustrate the integration of different skill sets in Krav Maga?
This technique perfectly illustrates that fluid transition Krav Maga emphasizes between striking, grappling, and takedowns. It shows how a defensive action, the parry, can immediately flow into offense, the counterstrike, then into control, the grips, then a takedown, the throw, and finally ground control. It emphasizes being able to seamlessly link different techniques.
Then there's interception front knee kick. As an attacker moves forward to deliver a knee, the defender shifts 45 degrees off the line of attack and kicks the attacker's kneecap with an outward-turned foot straight in,
Oof.
targeting the joint.
What's the goal of targeting the kneecap like that?
Targeting the kneecap with a direct kick, as the book describes, can cause immediate severe pain. It can potentially hyperextend or even break the joint.
Right.
This immediately stops their forward momentum, their attack, and significantly impairs their ability to continue the assault. It's a very effective, if brutal, way to counter a knee strike or even just forward aggressive movement.
We also have stepping side kick, a longer range attack. Involves a skip-like step with the rear foot crossing the front, then raising the kicking knee and thrusting the kick outwards to the abdomen or kneecap.
Closing distance.
How does this stepping motion enhance the power and reach? That initial step in the stepping side kick allows you to generate significant forward momentum, which translates directly into increased power behind the kick. It also helps close the distance quickly and extend your reach, letting you strike an opponent who might otherwise be just out of range for a standard kick. The book correctly points out it can also push the opponent off balance.
Next is front kick counter. If an attacker throws a front kick, the defender parries by intercepting their foot with their own foot, rotating it 45 degrees outward, steps off the attack line to the outside, and then as the leg descends, kicks upward at the attacker's calf with their shin.
Interesting counter. Why the calf?
By intercepting their foot, you disrupt their balance and stop the kick's full force. Stepping off the line gets you safe. Kicking the calf muscle as the leg comes down targets a vulnerable muscle group, causes a Charlie horse effect, significant pain, instability. Further hinders the attacker. Timing is key here, the book notes.
Makes sense. Disrupt and disable.
We then have roundhouse kick counter. Involves sidestepping inside the arc of the attacking leg's knee, moving away from the line of attack, rotating your body to receive some of the kick's momentum, listening impact, and potentially sweeping their standing leg. How does moving inside the kick help?
By moving inside the roundhouse kick towards the attacker, you're stepping out of the primary line of force. The kick's power is greatest further out in its arc. This significantly reduces the impact.
Go.
Rotating your body helps further dissipate the energy. And being inside puts you in a perfect position to attack their balance, maybe sweep that standing leg right out from under them. The book also notes the attacker might even hyperextend their own knee if they kick wildly and you move inside.
Finally, in the blocking counter section, kick to defend against a punch. Opponent throws a straight punch jab, you step off the line of attack to the outside, turn towards them, raise your knee, and launch a downward heel kick to the outside of their thigh or knee.
Using a leg strike against an arm attack.
How does that work effectively?
This technique uses a lower body strike to disrupt an upper body attack by targeting the attacker's base, their stability. A strong heel kick stomp down onto the thigh can cause significant pain, muscle damage, dead leg, hindering their mobility and ability to continue attacking. Striking the side of the knee can be even more debilitating, affecting balance and stance directly. It's about creating a significant distraction and imbalance.
Okay, we're now moving into hold, escape, and reversal techniques. Let's start with defending against a wall push. Advice is extend hands to absorb impact, turn head, immediately spin with a high elbow strike to escape. Why the immediate counter?
When someone pushes you against a wall, they're limiting your mobility, cornering you, putting you at a huge disadvantage. That immediate high elbow strike aims to create space instantly, inflict pain, disrupt their control before they can capitalize.
Right.
As the book notes, using your momentum in the spin enhances the power of that elbow strike, allowing you to break free and follow up if needed, or just get away. Don't just accept being pinned.
Next is defending the double hand front choke. Priority: relieve pressure on the windpipe immediately. Use strong downward or across hooks with your hands to pluck at their wrist forearms, while simultaneously using knees to the groin or abdomen.
Got over it.
Why attack vulnerable areas while trying to break the hold?
A choke is life-threatening, restricts breathing, seconds count. The immediate downward plucking action at the wrists aims to break the grip mechanically. Simultaneously striking vulnerable areas like the groin or abdomen causes intense pain and distraction, which further weakens their hold and creates an opportunity for you to escape more effectively. The book correctly emphasizes explosive action here. Panic is bad, but controlled explosive action is good.
We then have defending the two-handed rear choke. It involves raising the arm on the same side as your rear leg, stepping that rear leg behind the front one, and spinning vigorously in the direction of your raised arm. How does this spinning motion break the choke?
That spinning motion utilizes your entire body weight and momentum. You're applying significant rotational pressure against the attacker's wrists and forearms, right where their grip is trying to hold on.
Okay.
By turning sharply, using your core and legs, you can often break their hold just due to the sudden, intense pressure against their thumbs and fingers. The book advises following up with strikes if immediate escape isn't possible after the spin.
Hashtag 36.
Yeah.
Throw from rear choke involves bending knees quickly, fast squat, grabbing opponent's collar or hair, right hand, pressing chin down into the V of their choking arm, grabbing their tricep, left hand, then rapidly bending forward from the waist, locking knees to throw them over your shoulder.
That's a more complex response.
How does this technique use leverage to overcome the attacker's position?
This throw uses a combination of things. First, bending your knees lowers your center of gravity and disrupts their balance. Then, grabbing their upper body and pressing your chin down gives you points of control and protects your airways slightly. The rapid forward bend uses your body weight and those secured grips to basically lever them up and over your center of gravity, takes them down, potentially allowing follow-up on the ground.
An alternative to the throw is hashtag 37, shoulder dislocation from rear choke. Specific hand positioning: back of one hand against their inner forearm, other arm over their elbow, clasp hands. Abruptly move around to pull their arm across their chest, then pull elbow up sharply while pulling wrist down. Sounds like it could cause serious injury.
Oh yeah, shoulder dislocations are no joke. They aim to cause significant pain and immediate incapacitation by forcing the joint out of its socket.
When would this be warranted?
Techniques like this are generally reserved for situations where you perceive a serious, imminent threat to your life or well-being. The book describes the specific grips and the sharp, coordinated movements needed. Dropping your body weight is key to apply enough force to the shoulder joint. It requires precision and should only be used in extreme circumstances.
We also have hashtag 38, counterstrikes to rear and frontal choke. For a rear choke, rear elbow strike to solar plexus, foot stomp down shin. For a frontal choke, rotate body, drop arm between their arms from above, sink weight, explode upward with elbow uppercut to chin and stomach.
Immediate pain compliance.
How do these immediate strikes create an opportunity to escape the choke?
These counter strikes are designed to create immediate pain and disrupt the attacker's focus and grip before you try the main escape. A sharp elbow to the solar plexus can knock the wind out of them. A stomp to the shin is intensely painful. It might cause just enough discomfort to momentarily weaken their hold, giving you that brief window to execute a more complete escape technique, like the spin or the throw we just talked about. Same idea for the front choke counters: break their posture, create space.
Hashtag 39. Front bear hug defense focuses on creating space if you're grabbed around the torso, arms free. React quickly, attack the face immediately, spread fingers, thumbs under chin, index under nose, middle and eyes, aggressively tilt head back. Then, knee strikes to groin abdomen.
Attack the head.
Why is the immediate attack to the face so important when your arms are trapped? Oh, wait, this is arms free, attackers close, arms around torso below your arms. My bad. So why attack the face first?
Ah, okay. Arms free, body locked.
Right.
Right. Attacking the face immediately exploits the extreme sensitivity there. Eyes, nose, chin leverage. It causes intense pain, disorientation, makes them instinctively recoil or loosen their grip.
Right.
That loosening allows you to then ground yourself better, create maybe some leg up space, and then start delivering those powerful knee strikes to the groin or abdomen to fully break the hold and escape.
Makes sense. Okay, now, hashtag 40. Escaping a rear bear hug. This time maybe arms are trapped. Drop body weight swiftly, fast squat, wide stance.
Yeah.
Shift hips to one side to create space. Single-handed, open palm strikes down to the groin hard until grip loosens. Then lunge forward slightly, spinning elbow to abdomen, turn to face.
Dropping the weight is key again.
How does lowering your center of gravity help here?
Dropping your weight quickly, that fast squat, makes it significantly harder for the attacker to lift you or maintain a secure, crushing hold around your torso. It anchors you. Shifting your hips creates that small but crucial space, allowing you to reach down and deliver effective groin strikes. Those are highly likely to cause the attacker to release or loosen their grip. The follow-up spinning elbow is a powerful counter as you turn to face them once the grip breaks.
Hashtag 41. Escaping a headlock. Side headlock. Turn chin in towards attacker's body. Prevent choking. Slide hand up opponent's back to their face. Pressure on eyes or under nose.
Yeah.
Push backwards. Tip opponent down across your knee to the ground. Finish with hammer fist elbow to groin throat.
Protecting the airway first.
Why is protecting your neck by tucking your chin the first priority?
In a side headlock, the primary danger is the restriction of your airway, the choke. Turning your chin in towards your chest protects your neck and windpipe, makes it harder for them to sink in a blood choke or airway choke.
Right.
The subsequent actions, pressure to the face, pain, distraction, taking them down over your knee destroys their base, aim to further disrupt their control and create an opportunity for you to deliver a final, incapacitating strike once they're down or off balance.
Defending the single hand shirt grab. Hashtag 42. Anticipate a punch with their other hand. Keep your opposite side hand free and raised for head defense. Use the hand on the same side as the grab to form a strong hook and rapidly pluck at the wrist to peel their hand off. Control their arm close to your chest. Simultaneously counterattack with clawed attacks to the face, eyes, nose, cheeks with your free hand. Then follow up.
Lots going on there.
What's the rationale for the simultaneous defense and offense?
A single-hand shirt grab, like the book says, often precedes a punch with the other hand. So keeping your free hand up for protection is essential, anticipating that. Simultaneously working to break their grip, the pluck, while attacking their face creates immediate pain and distraction. It disrupts their plan, gives you control of their grabbing arm, which you can then manipulate while continuing your counterattacks, knees, elbows, etc.
Hashtag 43. Wrist lock from collar grab. Grab their grabbing hand. Step backward to pull them off balance. Peel their hand off by crushing and bending their thumb backward towards their wrist. Maintain tight grip on thumb. Turn body to apply a painful wrist lock. Rotate wrist 45 degrees, push towards elbow. Manipulate to ground.
Attacking the thumb joint.
How does focusing on the thumb create such effective leverage?
The thumb is a key point of control for the entire hand's grip. By isolating it and bending it backward against its natural range, you create significant pain and mechanically disrupt their ability to hold on.
Okay.
Stepping back to unbalance them while you do this further enhances the effectiveness of the wrist lock. It allows you to control their arm using that painful leverage and potentially take them down or move them where you want them.
We then have hashtag 44, wrist lock from arm grab. They grab your arm. Quickly rotate your arm to grab their forearm. Place your other hand on their gripping hand to secure it. Step in towards the attacker, maintaining grip, to form a Z shape with their arm wrist. Effective wrist lock. Book even mentions potentially intensifying by trying to push their fingers into their eyes.
The Z lock, yeah, painful.
How does the Z shape contribute to the effectiveness?
The Z shape in the arm creates an angle that applies significant leverage directly onto the wrist joint, folding it unnaturally. By stepping in and manipulating their arm into this configuration, you can create intense pain and gain control over their movement very quickly. The added option of pressing fingers towards eyes is just another layer of pain compliance, highly effective.
Hashtag 45, elbow lock against the body.
Yeah.
You have control of their arm. Turn your body to force their elbow into an unnatural position against their side hip. Apply leverage on their wrist for control. Potential to break the elbow. Again, serious stuff.
Yeah, elbow locks are highly effective joint manipulations, can cause extreme pain, potential serious injury. This technique uses your own bada, your hip usually, as a fulcrum to hyperextend or bend the elbow joint against its natural stopping point.
Right.
Applying leverage on the wrist gives you further control and intensifies the pressure on the elbow itself. This level of force, again, should only be used when facing a severe threat. Maximum force and speed are mentioned.
Hashtag 46, knee lock break.
Yeah.
Forcing the knee to bend in the opposite direction using kicks or knees to the straight leg with full body weight. Hyperextension, potential break, catastrophic injury, use only if necessary.
Yes, knee locks aiming to hyperextend the joint. Devastating, long-lasting injuries. The book describes using focused kicks or knee strikes with your full body weight to force that knee beyond its normal range. It's absolutely a technique of last resort due to the high risk of causing permanent damage.
Finally, in this section, hashtag 47, rear strangle takedown. Position behind opponent. Strike rear of neck, stun. Wrap right arm in V around neck, grab left bicep, left hand around back of head, squeeze, pull flex right arm, push head forward, then jump and kick legs backwards using full body weight to pull down back against their neck. Compels them to fall backwards. Extremely powerful, risk of neck break.
Wow. That's intense. Extremely dangerous.
Yeah, this sounds incredibly risky for the opponent.
It's an exceptionally powerful and dangerous technique. Combines a stunning blow, a rear naked choke variation, and a forceful takedown using your entire body weight leveraged against their neck. The book correctly highlights the significant risk of severe neck injury, even death. It should only be considered in the most dire, absolutely life-threatening situations where all other options have failed or are impossible. Loosen grip unless absolutely necessary, it says.
Right. Okay, we've reached the final section, unarmed defense against melee weapons, knives, sticks, etc. The book emphasizes this is a last resort.
Absolutely last resort. Avoid if possible.
It outlines key principles. 1. Repeatedly move body out of the line of attack. 2. Take control of the weapon by trapping the arm. 3. Use effective counterattacks to stun. 4. Ground the attacker. 5. Disarm the attacker. Given the extreme danger, what's the most crucial element when facing a weapon unarmed?
Without a doubt, the most crucial element is avoid getting hit. Number 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Repeatedly moving your body out of the direct line of attack, sidestepping, changing angles, parrying is paramount. Simultaneously, your immediate goal has to be gaining control of the weapon, or at least the arm holding it, trapping it, limiting their ability to use it effectively.
Control the weapon arm.
Yes. The book's subsequent points, counterattacking, grounding, disarming those, are all secondary to that initial critical focus on evasion and control. You can't counterattack if you've been fatally stabbed.
Hashtag 49. Defense against a straight stab. Start an orthodox left stance, if right-handed, left arm forward. Parry with lead forearm while sidestepping left. Arm bent under 90 degrees to deflect or direct. Small parrying movement evasion is key. Defending arm uses fleshy part. Hand in knife hand position, wrist rotates outward on contact. Maintain contact, pin arm to torso, then attack head, neck, or low kick legs. Stay aware.
A lot of detail there. Why maintain contact with the weapon arm?
Maintaining contact is vital for several reasons, according to the book. It allows you to control the distance and direction of the weapon, preventing further stabs or slashes immediately after the first. It also gives you a tactile sense of their movements, helps you anticipate their next attack, and it creates the opportunity for you to apply joint locks or other disarming techniques while you deliver your own counterattacks. Keep control of the danger. Finally, hashtag 50. Defense against a two-handed overhead attack, like with a stick or bat. Swiftly close distance. Lead defense hand aligns with forward body lean, chin tucked. Push off rear leg for momentum. Lead hand passes over opponent's hand's weapon. Attack passes harmlessly behind your head. Maintain lead hand contact. Continue forward momentum. Rotate lead hand to snake around their arms. Gain weapon control. Simultaneous powerful counterattacks with free arm. Punches, elbows, knees, low kicks. Prioritize controlling the far side arm if you can't trap both.
Closing distance again seems counterintuitive, but
Why is closing the distance effective against this type of big overhead attack?
closing the distance disrupts the power and the arc of that big swing. By moving in quickly inside the weapon's optimal range, you prevent the attacker from generating full force.
You jam it.
Exactly, you jam it. Deflecting the weapon over your head keeps it away from vital areas. Maintaining contact allows you to control their arms and the weapon itself. And simultaneously launching counterattacks while you're controlling their weapon arms significantly increases your chances of disarming them, or at least creating an opening to escape.
Wow, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground in this deep dive.
We certainly have.
To quickly recap some key takeaways,
Hmm.
Krav Maga is really about simplicity, efficiency, directly targeting an attacker's vulnerabilities.
Practicality.
You now have a much better understanding, hopefully, of core principles like utilizing everyday objects, the importance of constant motion, mental composure, and we've explored a wide range of basic strikes, grappling concepts, and defenses against common attacks, even those involving weapons.
Exactly. This has been an overview, really, of the core philosophy and a selection of practical techniques from the book. It's a system fundamentally designed for effectiveness in chaotic, real-world self-defense scenarios, not a sport.
Right. So here's a thought for you to consider. The learner. Reflecting on that core idea of using everyday items for defense. Take a look around you right now. What are 3 things within your immediate reach? And how could you potentially use them, based on what we talked about, to change the dynamics of an unexpected, threatening situation?
Mm.
It's about making these concepts more concrete, more personal.
That's a fantastic way to encourage further thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just about passively absorbing information, but actively considering how these principles might apply in your own environment. Makes it real.
And finally, please remember, this deep dive provides an introduction, some concepts and techniques from Krav Maga.
Just a glimpse, really.
Hands-on, practical training with qualified instructors is absolutely essential for developing the necessary skills, the muscle memory, the instinctive reactions needed for real-world self-defense.
Cannot stress that enough. Reading about it or listening isn't the same as doing it under pressure.
Definitely. If you're serious about learning Krav Maga, we strongly encourage you to seek out reputable classes in your area. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.